Hello, welcome back. This is Chip Byers, and this is part two. We've got our crate into Substance Painter. We've baked all the maps, and now we're ready to rock and roll. So a couple things I want to talk to you about is how to reset your UI in case you mess things up in here. So you can go to Window and Reset UI. I think that's important to tell you right away in case you mess things up. Reset UI, and it will turn it in, it will look like this. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our assets down, because you can move windows around. I'm going to move mine down here. Of course, you can have yours to the side. I'm going to move this up a little bit, okay, so I can see all my materials. And we talked a little bit about this. Smart materials are basically layered materials that give you a really specific look. And because we baked maps, these will work. Okay. So if I click on 1001, you need to kind of know your texture set list, and I'm going to bring that down because I know I have more to this. So I'm going to see them all, see all my layers. I've got 7, so 1001 to 1007. I need to know which texture set is connected to which UVs. So I can go in here, and basically you're turning your UVs on and off. Okay, so you have to know which one texture set is controlling what area. Okay, so you can turn everything off and just work on the one that you're interested in. Okay, it's up to you what you want to do. I guess I just kind of have to memorize which one is controlling what, and I am going to select that. Now each one of these texture sets controls a layer. Okay, so I'm going to click on that. So texture set settings, and this texture set layers. So I'm going to focus on layers now, and we can also, I'm going to move around just like in Maya with the Alt key, middle mouse button moving up and down, holding down the Alt key, right mouse button rotating, with the left mouse button rotating, and scaling in with the right mouse button, going up and down with the Alt key down. Okay, we can paint with our layer. Okay, when we click on this guy right here, we can create new layers. If I want to delete a layer, I can just click on the trash can and delete that. These are our properties. This tells me what kind of brush I have right now. If I want to change my brush, I can click on the brushes here, okay, under assets. Okay, so I got different types of brushes we can use. Okay, right now I would select either the basic hard or basic soft. Right now I've got the soft on. Okay, so I'm going to tell you kind of the brush controls. I can go ahead and make a brush stroke. I can do Control Z to go back. Okay, Control will also give you a heads up on some of the hotkeys that you can use. Okay, the hotkeys for the brush is for the scale is to hold the Control key down and your right mouse button. All right, and if I go up vertically with a mouse, holding down the Control and the right mouse button and pushing the mouse up and down will give me soft, okay, or a hard brush. Okay, I'm going to Control Z back. All right, so Control going back and forth is scale. Control moving the mouse up and down gives you a soft brush or a hard brush. We're going to leave it to hard because we're going to create some normal maps. We're going to add those, and we'll go through some of the things we can do with that, with adding details. So this is what this video is about, is adding details, and it's about painting too. Okay, we want to click off of the brush, on back onto our materials, and Now we're going to go into adding a material. So you can choose a material you want. You can find a material on your own. I don't have any materials added yet. If you want to add your own material, you go to the bottom of your assets under materials, and you can click on this plus sign. And this will allow you to add a resource. Okay. So this allows you to add SBR materials. They're substance painted materials. SBSAR, I think they're called. And you can add those by adding a resource, and then you choose what it is. Is it a material? Is it a smart material? And how do you want to use it, right? Okay. All right. So that's how you can add. We have our brushes, like I said, and there's some really cool brushes in here. Alpha maps we're going to be looking at, and normal maps. So we're going to be using the normal maps, okay? And in particular, I'm going to be using this one here, or this one here, it doesn't matter which one. And some other normal maps to create our details, okay? You can also create your own normal maps or find your own normal maps and import them in here by clicking on the import resources, okay? So as I go through this, you can add yours, you can use what's here, which is fine, or you can download what I have, and those will be put into this area here. You can use those, but they're not normal maps. You might have to change them from alpha maps to normal maps. These are alpha maps, okay? All right, we'll talk about how you can use those a little bit later. Right now we're going to just add detail right now to get you started. And you can turn those alpha maps into normal maps by using apps that are online, the free apps to change like a photograph into a normal map or photograph into a alpha map. So those, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But right now, let's go ahead and get started. So let's go back into materials. We're just going to add a basic metal polish. Okay, so I'm just going to click on the texture set list that I want to create and just going to drag and drop. Okay, that's the first step. And I'm going to click on this layer here and delete it. So I'm going to click on that trash can. And I'm going to create my own new layer. Okay, that's my first layer. All right. And I can still, my brush is still working. I painted on that. But I want to turn my brush into a normal map. Okay. All right. So we got our basic metal polish, and we have our layer here. So what I want to do is I want to go in here and I want to hold down the Alt key and click on normal. That just clicks on the normal mode. Okay. And under the normal color, okay, uniform color, I'm going to go ahead and just rotate or scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to click on Vent 47. Okay. Now, because I have this in hard mode, I can actually create detail in there, which is really cool. I'm going to rotate around. Now, I'm going to hold my Shift key down and rotate the light around. So hold the Shift key down, okay, and right mouse button, you can rotate that light source around. Okay, we kind of want to get it right on there so we can kind of see what we're doing, okay? So I'm going to Control Z back. And once we get that light where we want it, holding the Shift and right mouse button, right, I'm going to go back in here and just concentrate on this. So I'm going to right click over anywhere, and it gives me, this opens up the normal settings, okay? So I have the ability, so let's say you've run into something like this, and you can only, it's kind of softening the edges. It's because our brush is too soft, okay? So to harden that, we can do two things. We can right click over it and go into perimeters in here and turn up the hardness, or we can go in here and harden the edge by holding down the control and the right mouse button and moving the mouse vertically up and down, sliding it up and down. Okay, so it'd be like forward and back, from away from you, soft, pushing it up, forward. Okay, let's say into, like pushing the mouse. You can't see what I'm doing, but you can vertically up, and then side to side is scale, right? Scaling the brush. Up and down, moving it forward and back gives you hardness, and we want hardness. We want to be able to see the entire normal map. So I'm going to Control Z back, and we're going to make this a little bit bigger, right? By holding down the Control key and moving the mouse side to side. Okay, side to side. All right, there we go. And I'm going to rotate this whole view so I can get a nice look at this, and I'm going to kind of get that set up. There we go, and click on it. There we go. You can see that adds that detail. And I can go ahead and add detail on this side. Now this would be easier if I want to mirror this, like do symmetry, use the symmetry tool. This has it. So I'm going to go Control Z back, okay? And I'm going to go into symmetry right here, okay? Right? All right, so we've got it all set up. All right, I'm going to click on that, and that gives us the symmetry tool. Okay. Now I'm going to turn that off. I can see this is where I can move that symmetry around, and if you do that, it kind of messes things up a little bit, you know. So I'm going to Control Z back, and to reset this, I'm going to click on the mirror symmetry tool itself and click on this and type in 0. There we go. That gets us back where we were. Okay, so I just click on the symmetry tool again and set that up like that. There we go. You can turn that off and on anytime you want to by clicking that off and on. Okay, so that's our first step. So you can add detail that way, which is fine. And you can continue adding detail by going into clicking on the normal map here and finding something else. To say I found something really cool that I thought was kind of neat. Was this guy right here. This kind of edge normal would be kind of fun to put there. So I'm going to make that smaller. Okay. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to add symmetry to that. So I'm going to add one here. Okay. And add one here, but it's not really going the way I want it to go. Okay, so I'm going to Control Z back. I'm going to go into rotate. I'm going to rotate this tool. So let's see, how do I do? I'm going to hold the Control key and rotate this by moving my mouse up and down. So Control up and down and move it sideways like that until I get what I want. And I can also, okay, so Control Z back. I can also do the same thing by right clicking over it, and there is a rotate here. So 180 degrees, you can see I can type that in too. So I got it all set up. I just need to get it just right, kind of where I want it to be. There we go. And so you're just gonna have to play with this a little bit. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so you get that set up and add maybe some more detail down in here if we want to. All right, let's go into the normal and just find something interesting here that we can put on the bottom. Just kind of look for stuff. This looks pretty cool. Let's see what that will add on the bottom of that piece right here. Okay, there we go. And maybe another one right in here. And that's kind of angled. That's kind of weird. I don't know why it's angled. Okay, let me right click over it and see it's at 180. That is strange. Maybe it's because I've got it set up. There we go. I just got a weird angle on it, so I've got to get that just set up just right. And another thing is, you find it here, you can go over here, you can zoom this in here and paint directly on the 2D, and that might be more more helpful for you. There you go. That looks pretty good. I like that. So I've got some nice detail here on this crate so far, which is kind of cool. Okay, now you'll be doing the same process. Now I'm going to show you the whole thing because we're going to want to add edgeware to all this, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to continue on. But right now I'm going to go and show you how to save your work. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to Save As, and I usually place it in my documents into the folder that I'm actually working with. So when we create a project, as you guys know, it makes all these folders. You have to create your project in Maya. I've already showed you how to do that. And then what you want to do is you want to save all your work within that folder. Okay. And this is it's best if you just place it up into the first. So if you're working on your computer, you go to, of course it'll be different if you're working off your hard drive. You go to your documents. If you're on your computer, you go to Maya and you go to your projects. That's where your projects are. And then I'm just going to scroll down to my SciFi crate. I double click on that and then I can save it. So and you can see I've been saving I called it crate details. Let's just call this test 01. That way, if we save that and we know where it's saved into our project, then we know where we can open that up. So anytime that I want to go from this on or not lose any information, this is a great way to work and manage your scene files. Okay, I'll see you in the next video, part 3, in adding details and adding edgeware.